Hey guys, welcome to the Still Going Strong podcast. As always, my name is Robert. This is my wife Kaci, and we are so thankful that you are going on this journey with us through marriage in the Still Going Strong podcast. You know, whenever I first thought of that about the Still Going Strong, I always wanted to do something that would focus on things to help you to get through, because I know that you and I have been through a lot of stuff together, and we've been through a lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff. And so I'm going to kind of take the lead on this one this time. I'm going to bring kind of the topic, and it was really just kind of pressed on me when we was sitting here thinking about the things that we wanted to discuss in this recording session or episode or however you want to call that. And that is the fact of, I know that we've talked about when people, whenever I'm going through a season, God tends to keep you strong. And when you're going through a season, God tends to keep me strong. But I know, especially BC, I know that there were times where we just went through junk together, where it was just hard all the way around, where um, I was defeated, you was defeated, we were defeated together. And we've done that, and we've had those. This isn't a respecter of Christianity versus non-Christianity.
Yeah.
We've had those seasons where we've went through hard times together or without Christ, and we've had times where we went through hard things together with Christ. And so I wanted to I thought that might be something that we could discuss. And the first verse that immediately like drew my attention to it, it's in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, and I'm gonna read it. It's verses 9 through 12. He says, "Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their efforts. For if either fails, his companion can lift him up, but pity the one who falls without another to lift him up. Also, if two lie down together, they can keep warm, but how can one person alone keep warm? And if someone overpowers one person, two can resist him. A cord of three strands is not easily broken." And I think what I like about this verse is, number one, it starts to focus on two.
Yeah.
That when we're going through things, and it's really easy. It's really easy for when we're going through things. The first thing is we tend to. I know for me, my anger will get the best of me, and then we start turning on each other, and that just doesn't help anything.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, whenever we're going through something, and I don't really have a thing in mind of stuff that we've gone through. I mean, I know that we've gone through like loss of loved ones, and there has been seasons where it's just been a season. It's just been a season where it just doesn't feel like things are going right, where maybe financially we were having issues, and it just felt just like a roller coaster of junk.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the first thing that I can say is to anybody that's out there that's maybe going through a season like that is you can't. The first thing you can not do is, and that is just go at each other, because you're a team in this.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's what the enemy wants.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's his like most of his tactic is to divide us.
Yeah.
And so, and whenever we're going through a tough time, even if we are going through it together, we're going through it individually, because
Yes.
we each, even if we're together, we're each going through it individually. So we each have our own piece in it. And so even if we're both going through the same thing, there are times that you can feel like you're the only one having to deal with it, that it can't possibly be affecting the other person as much as it is me or whatever. And so, if he can get us divided, then it's even easier to kick us out.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I'm going to throw this because I just think it's kind of funny. I was thinking, it just popped in my head thinking about like basketball, and like, you and I like the Chicago Bulls back in '96 with Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman and them. And the thing is that what I always said was the best thing about Dennis Rodman is the fact that he could get in somebody's head.
Mhm.
And if he could get in somebody's head and get those people to think about all they can think about is themselves or think about him, and he's basically separated a guy off that on that field away from everybody else. He's divided them.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I think about that in the same way. We're a team.
Yeah.
And the best way the enemy's going to win is to get us to not be a team, but instead be individual players, or even to make us think that we're on opposing teams instead of together. And I know that in a lot of marriage, if you go to a lot of marriage courses, the number one thing I hear a lot is your wife is not your enemy. Your spouse is not your enemy. And it's trust me, it is so easy whenever it is rough and it's just rough all the way around to have that mindset that your spouse is not your enemy.
Absolutely. And especially so, I feel like if your spouse is not a believer.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for us, I don't want to say luck, because it's not luck that we were saved at the same time.
Blessed.
Yeah, we were very blessed. So we were saved within hours of each other, basically.
Yes.
And so, but not everybody has that. And so I can think back to whenever neither one of us was saved, that, I mean, there were times that absolutely that you were kind of equivalent to my enemy, because we were on opposing fronts of it. But the thing is even in that instance, even though I saw you that way, or even if we were opposed to each other, we're still not each other's enemy.
That's right. That's right. Well, I mean, yeah, because that's the one thing about playing for the other team, or playing for the enemy's team, is the enemy even keeps his teammates feeling like they're on their own teams. Because that's what he likes. He likes to keep everybody divided. Because I want you to understand this: if you are not for God's team or on God's team, you are on the enemy's team. And I want you to understand this too. You may think, okay, well, that's not so bad. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, there's only one person on the devil's team, and that's himself. I would almost say that he'd probably throw demons under the bus if that meant that he could stay on top. So I want you to understand that there is only one man that was God, that came and sacrificed himself, that gave himself up for the betterment of everyone, and that's Jesus Christ. Because he showed us what it was like to be selfless. He showed us what it was like to be a team player. He showed us what it was like, and that just kind of came out of left field, but I guess I got to get the gospel in there somehow. But always. But and I thought about that too, like, because we obviously don't know what it was like to have one saved person, one unsaved person, and how that conflict is. And again, I'm not saying that, like we've always said, if somebody is mentally, physically abusive, then
everything goes out the window.
Yeah, this isn't talking about teammates. You got to keep yourself safe. You got to keep yourself physically safe, happy, or not happy, but you got to keep yourself safe. Yeah. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about, if you are in a relationship and you're not a believer, and you guys are going through a rough patch. Well, first of all, the first thing we can recommend to you is you got to know Christ. Because that brings me to the last part of that verse. Because like I said, this started off as talking about two, because he talks about two are better than one if they have a good reward for their efforts. If one falls, companion can lift him up. Whoever falls without another to lift him up. If also two lie down together, they can keep warm, but how can one person alone keep warm? And if someone overpowers one person, two can resist him. But then he goes into a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. Because Ecclesiastes, this is Solomon writing this, he understands at the end of it, yes, it's good to have a companion, but man, when the companion and God, or Christ, is all three together, it's not easily broken.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, I can think about, like, whenever we lived in Minnesota, having issues between the two of us. I mean, I can't really remember like a whole lot of really severe things that happened to us prior to coming to Christ. I mean, obviously you have the one that brought us both to Christ, but like
Yeah.
there wasn't like a whole lot of really, really bad things that we dealt with. There was a lot of struggles, and there was a lot of not great treating of each other and stuff like that. But I can't really like remember like any really, really bad things that, I mean, as I said, there's some bad things in
I was gonna
there.
say, oh, thank you, because I could name some off the top of my head that I really wouldn't want to. I mean, there have been some, I would say, not great things.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying there weren't some not great things. I'm just saying there weren't
Okay,
like,
there were things that happened that other people would have ended in divorce. I believe that there was a couple things that transpired that would have led to that. So
I mean, yeah, there were, yes, there were a few things that had we not already been set on, we're going to make this work, that we could very easily throw in the towel on.
yes,
And yeah, and I mean, I feel like everybody has those moments, no matter what, whether Christian or not.
yeah.
Because I mean, I think that's just the society that we live in. It's so easy to just throw in the towel.
Well,
Anyway,
and also the fact that we're imperfect vessels. So I mean,
Yeah.
we're never gonna have we're it's never gonna be two perfect people in a perfect marriage. It's just maybe when we get to heaven and we're married to the Lamb, but other
Yeah.
than that, it's not gonna happen.
But I mean, obviously there were hard times, and
Yes.
there were significant lengths of time that I can think of like being very tense and not loving to
Yes.
each other.
Yes.
We definitely did not go by the let's not go to bed man. I mean, we had times where, I mean, I can remember a significant like weeks on end that we were very tense and very mad at each other. It was
Yep.
not like a let's work this out kind of thing. So I'm not saying that it was good before, because our marriage was not good
No,
before.
no.
I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying that most of our really tough stuff, I feel like, that we've gone through has been this side of us being saved.
Oh yeah.
And however, whenever I look back on those things, of even though I feel like they were minor compared to some of the things we've gone through now, at the time, I think they kind of felt like more of a big deal than the things that we've gone through now, because we do still have hope in them, and we can go through them together, and we can go through them with Christ. And so we're not like completely everything's the end of the world kind of situation. Whereas I feel like prior to knowing Christ, even though they weren't really end of the world situations, they felt like they were.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I think that's to be expected. Just again, for the simple fact that when you're living for yourself, you're living for your own pleasures, you're living for your own. Then whenever you go through those things, and you're not feeling good, you're not feeling, then it's like, oh well, what's the point of going through this? Why are we going through this? I mean, I can think of that honestly through our BC marriage, is that when things were bad, my heart was like, why? What? There is no purpose for us to go through this. Why does this not have to feel good? Why can't this just all be okay? Why are we having this issue? And I know some of that stuff was my own doing, your own doing. I understand the why, the little why, but
Yeah.
the big why, like, why can't this just be okay? Why can't this? And now, I've thought, okay, well, there's no reason. In BC, there's no reason for me to go through this. There's no reason for us to go through this. And now looking on this side of the cross and the things that we go through, I know that there's a purpose for it. I know it still sucks. There's still that question, and it's okay to question God. Why are we going through this? Why does this hurt so bad? Why are we having to go through this together? Why can't, just this go away? Yes, we're going to still struggle with that question. But
Absolutely.
on this side of the cross, it's like, wait a second. I know something else is going to come out of this. If you would have told me back when we lived in Minnesota, 20 some years ago, that every heartbreak, every challenge that we went through.
Not 20 some years ago,
Well,
just so you know.
about 20 years ago, 19, 18 years ago.
Don't make me older than I am.
Well, I was making our marriage older than it is, I guess.
And by doing that, you're making me older than I am.
You just don't want to be 40 yet.
I don't, and I'm not.
But everything that we went through, now I see there's a purpose. And if you would have told me back then that we'd be sitting here, and I say this on the I Am Matthew podcast, that all the junk that I've done is going to get rehashed and regurgitated onto a podcast to share with people, I would have thought you were nuts. But now sitting here right now, it all makes sense. It all makes sense that we've been through this stuff. Yes, God didn't want us to go through it, but we chose to go through it. And God says, okay, you can go through it. And when you come out on the other side of this, what I want you to do is I want you to take all your hurts and all the things that you've gone through, and I want you to share it with others. I think that's God's will for everybody's life.
Absolutely.
Because that's the whole purpose of a testimony. Mm-hmm. The things that you've gone through, the struggles that you've had, is for you to come over on the other side and say, okay, look, I got through this with Christ. I see you're going through this. Come with me. And that's why we're doing the Still Going Strong podcast. That's why we're doing the I Am Matthew podcast. That's why we're doing the Refining Fire podcast, is because there's so much stuff that a lot of people's gone through, and other people feel like they're so alone in it. And that's another one of the devil's really big tricks.
Absolutely.
Is to isolate you into thinking nobody else has possibly gone through this. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is that's a lie.
Yep.
Because we've all been going through this since the garden. We've all been going through this stuff. And it may look different in different time periods with different technology and different cultures, but it's still the same feelings.
Yeah. Well, and I think a big thing that I know I have had times that I've struggled with it, and I've heard other people make comments about it, about even though as a Christian that God is going to use it, it still does not feel good when you're going through it. And I have heard, honestly, a decent amount of people kind of make it seem like if you're going through those hard things as a Christian, then maybe you're not really saved. And that is a complete lie. Because it specifically says in this Bible that we're going to go through things. Actually, that was one of the things. So John 16:33, I have told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart because I have overcome the world. It does not say that once you come to Christ, everything's going to be all hunky-dory and you're not going to have to deal with anything anymore.
Well, yeah, Jesus, and I know there's another spot in there where Jesus says that you're going to get all of these things along with persecutions. He's going to give you all the good stuff, but guess what? You're going to get persecutions too. You're going to get some of the bad stuff too. There's just no way around it. The hard stuff comes with the good stuff, and I think, honestly, the hard stuff comes so that we can appreciate the good stuff. And also because the enemy doesn't want us to have the good stuff. He only wants us to have the hard stuff, and he likes to push the hard stuff too. But you're right. Every marriage there's gonna be stuff that we're gonna go through. It's gonna be there's gonna be trials and there's gonna be hard times. But for the people that are out there that are struggling and going through hard times right now, again, number one, you got to have that cord of three strands. It's got to be you. It's got to be you together and Christ. And if it's not you together and Christ, in the beginning of that Ecclesiastes, he talks about two, and he talks about a companion. That companion does not necessarily in the beginning have to be your spouse. If one of you is not believing and the other one is, then that companion that you have to lean on that picks you up has to be Christ. And hopefully at some point that the other person comes to know Christ, and then you can start building. But I want you to know while you're going through those struggles together that you may be going through struggles right now and it's hard. Number one, God sees you right where he's at. He loves you. And number two, you're going to come out the other side and it's a light and momentarily affliction. That's what Peter says. It's a light and momentarily.
So in the middle of what you just said
Yeah.
reminded me of something. So going to Romans, you talked about that, that the trials are important. So
Yes.
in Romans, it specifically says we can rejoice too when we run. Romans 5:3-5. We can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials. For we know that they help us develop endurance, and endurance develops strength of character, and character strengthens our confident hope of salvation. And this hope will not lead to disappointment, for we know how dearly God loves us because he has given us the Holy Spirit to fill our hearts with his love. So those trials absolutely have a purpose.
Yes.
God is going to use them, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. He's going to use them in your testimony.
Yes.
And you're going to use them for you to help the next person through it. I can think of all different kinds of things that as a married couple that we've had to deal with. Granted, there's a lot of things that married couples have to go through that we have not.
Oh, yeah.
But we've gone through a lot of different stuff together, and I can confidently say that pretty much everything that we've had to deal with, I've been later come in contact with somebody who's either in the process of going through it or has just come out of it or something, and I've been able to kind of hopefully help them along. I feel like I've been able to help them along, but I can at least try to help them along and pull them along.
And again, and I think that's why we started doing this, because, I think one of the greatest things about this, what we're doing, is the fact that we're real and we're being honest and authentic and transparent. And the fact of the matter is, you and I can both sit here and say we haven't done the right things all the time and we haven't gotten everything right. And
before and after being saved.
Yeah, before and after being saved. And the fact of the matter is that we've been through it, and we're willing to sit here and talk about it. And I think that's desperately needed, because it's easy to get onto a marriage podcast on Spotify or wherever you find your podcast. It's very easy to get on there, and they talk to you about all the do's and the don'ts, but they don't really come from a place where it feels like it feels like they've rehearsed it for a while, and they have all the right notes to say all the right things.
Yeah, sometimes I kind of wish ours was like that.
I
mean, not really, because I don't think it would help people, because that's not what they need.
That's not, yeah.
But honestly, it would make it easier in my head.
I understand that, and I know sometimes that it may seem like even we might be rambling at times, but at the fact
that's because that's how we really are.
That is how we are. So that's exactly how we are. But at the end of the day, I want to be real. I don't want to give you 10 steps to a better you, and I know you don't want that either.
No.
And
so the first one that I looked up that I was going to share earlier, but then we kind of went in a different direction. I love that we went in that direction, but I feel like it's really important, and that is Psalms 23:4.
Okay.
So, we talked about that it's, there's hard times that we have to go through, and so I'm sure most people know Psalms 23:4, but so, even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close to me, your rod and your staff protect me and comfort me. And my Bible that I have right here is my Jesus Center Bible, so it has like the little blue things in it, and I love the heading over here, and it says Psalm 23, a shepherd who never fails us.
Yep.
Because whether we are Christians or not, as a spouse, I'm gonna fail you. You're gonna fail me.
Yep.
It's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
We're gonna be failed by our friends. We're gonna be failed by our pastors. We're gonna be failed by everyone on this earth.
That's right.
But Jesus never fails us.
That's right. Absolutely. Amen. I like that. I agree. I agree with that. And the thing that I wanted to, I kind of want to close. Well, I want to close a little bit, but one of the things that this is where I kind of went to too is one of the things that brought up. Peter is talking to people about following Christ, and he talks about in 1 Peter 4, we'll start with 7. He says, the end of all things is near. Therefore, be alert and sober-minded for prayer. And then he says, above all, maintain constant love for one another, since love covers a multitude of sins. And I think that is I mean, yes, he was talking to a church, and yes, he was talking to multiple people. But I think us as as a married couple, can do that. Sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, but if we are maintaining constant love for one another, it says it's able to cover a multitude of sins. What does that mean? Honestly, I don't really know quite really what exactly he's referring to, because I can't cover your sins in heaven, you can't cover my sins in heaven. But what I think that does is that when we maintain that constant love for one another, yes, we're going to have faults. Yes, things are going to go wrong. But if we maintain that constant love, then we learn from it. We draw closer to each other. We draw closer to Christ. So I love that. I love that verse to above all to maintain constant love for one another.
As a spouse, we obviously want to uphold all those.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other important part to remember is that God is always going to uphold all those things.
Yes.
And whenever we don't get it right, I think that's ultimately especially where that quarter three strands comes in.
Yep.
Because we're never going to get it right, and he's always going to. And he's always there with us. All we have to do is remember to keep him in the middle of us, keep him in the middle of us individually, and keep him in the middle of both of us together.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's going to help us through all of it. Even whenever everything is chaos and it seems like nothing is going right, God is always right.
Absolutely. And with that, I want to thank you guys for checking out the Still Going Strong podcast. I want you guys to continue to remember that what God has joined together, let no one separate. Don't let culture, don't let pride, don't let pressure. Remember to protect your covenant and love on purpose. And again, we hope to see you next time. Still going strong. Have a great week.